Good afternoon, this is Arunima. We are keeping our focus on the Red Fort blast, and as we look at the investigation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has touched down in the national capital. He was on a visit to Bhutan. He's now come back. This return is significant because now the focus moves on how India is going to avenge the Red Fort attack. Prime Minister in Bhutan said it in English so that the world can hear. He said that this will be avenged. Justice will be done to those who lost their lives. And moments after letting the world know about India's intention, Prime Minister is now back in Delhi. In the evening, a cabinet committee on security is likely. A cabinet meeting is scheduled. So will India take a decision on how to really respond to this terror attack that has killed at least 8, if not more people? The reason we say that is because a number of body parts are yet to be identified, but the death toll is definitely rising. How is India going to respond to that? That is the big question. India's leadership has made it very clear that acts of terror from here on will be treated as acts of war. Pallavi Ghosh is with me. Pallavi, now that the Prime Minister has landed, are there any meetings immediately scheduled, or will we see him, heading the Cabinet Committee on Security, which is around 5 p.m.?
Well, that's the meeting that we are talking about. There's a cabinet meeting which is scheduled at 5:30, and of course it's going to be preceded by a short CCS. The CCS, of course, as we all know, consists of obviously the Prime Minister and his core team. There's going to be the Raksha Mantri. There is, of course, going to be the Finance Minister. There is going to be the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah. The Foreign Affairs Minister, we are told, is travelling, so he is going to skip the CCS meeting. And of course, the Cabinet Secretary, Ajit Doval, at the NSA, and the entire team of the MHA as well as the PMO officials. What we are still picking up early, even as the Prime Minister lands in the national capital, is that he is going to be taking a briefing from the Home Minister, and after that, the cabinet agenda is going to take on. But the Prime Minister has been keeping a watch on the entire situation. He has been monitoring the situation. In fact, the moment the blast news broke out, the Prime Minister was being briefed consistently by the Home Minister. And even when he was in Bhutan, he made that public statement, his first one after the Delhi Red Fort blast. But he was down the clock monitoring the situation, what we are being told by the government sources, and of course being in touch with all the concerned officials. But this is going to be the first cabinet meeting, but more importantly, the Cabinet Committee on Security meeting in which he's going to be briefed. So we'll have to wait to see if any kind of big decision comes out of it. But what we are told by government sources is that essentially it's a briefing meeting where he has made it very, very clear that all those who are responsible for this is going to be brought to justice.
Right. Payal Mehta is also with us. Payal, Prime Minister's first stop, we are told, is going to be the LNGP hospital.
That's exactly what we're given to understand right now by way of our sources in the Delhi government, that essentially Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has just landed in the national capital after his 2-day visit to Bhutan, is expected to head straight to the LNGP hospital, where of course the injured have been admitted ever since that blast took place a couple of days ago as well. He's going to inquire from them about their well-being, and he's going to tell them that everything will be done so that justice can be ensured for their family members. And given the fact that there are people who've been grievously injured, there are people who've suffered mild injuries, what is the arrangement as far as that is concerned? That is something which the Prime Minister is expected to oversee, is what we are given to understand. And like Pallavi was just reporting, that in the evening, the Cabinet Committee of Security meeting will be very, very crucial. That's part of the protocol for them to hold a meeting when an episode like this takes place as well. So you can expect the Home Minister and the Home Secretary to brief the Prime Minister in the presence of senior ministers, Rajnath Singh, the Defence Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, the Finance Minister. Of course, the External Affairs Minister is currently travelling, is not here. So senior officials from the MHA and the PMO will also be present in that meeting. The Prime Minister is expected to get that briefing, in terms of what the update of the investigation really stands at this point in time. But the Prime Minister is, of course, going and expressing his sympathy and his solidarity with those people who have actually either lost their loved ones or are facing injuries at the LNGP hospital.
Or even those who can't be identified, isn't it, Payal? Because there are a number of body parts lying there. The bodies have been disfigured to the extent that it is difficult to ascertain who this person is, and their loved ones who have still reported that their family member or friend is missing. Prime Minister going to LNJP, perhaps accompanied by the Delhi Health Minister, is going to be an assurance to such people also who are still waiting to have some information about their lost ones.
Well, absolutely. This is something that we've seen, that the Prime Minister and the government has approached a very, very humanitarian approach when it comes to something like this. You remember a few months ago when Pulwama really happened, in no time Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, was rushed to Srinagar. Prime Minister, in fact, himself had asked Amit Shah to rush as well. And we've seen what had happened within probably an hour or something of the blast taking place. The Prime Minister also ensured that the Union Home Minister was there at the LNJP hospital. He reviewed the entire situation. He held security meetings throughout yesterday and today as well. He in fact went to the blast site as well. So very humanitarian approach being applied by the Prime Minister over here as well, because he understands what it means for people to not be able to find their loved ones, because there are many people who have not been identified yet. We do not really know, because bodies have also been strewn all over the place. So that's something which the government will assure the victims that they stand in solidarity with them. And at the same time, like Amit Shah had pointed out to the officials, that not a single person should be spared who is responsible for this.
Right. Pallavi is also with us on the broadcast. Pallavi, like Payal has been reporting, both the Home Minister and the Prime Minister were glued in, speaking to the agencies all through the night when the Red Fort blast has happened. So, Prime Minister has been, up to date as far as the investigation is concerned. But now going forward, as more and more details are coming in about a Jaish-e-Mohammed involvement, about a Jaish module involvement, what is the sense that you pick up from the government about what next?
Prime Minister made it very clear when he made that statement about the Red Fort blast in Thimphu was it will be a zero tolerance, and that those who've been responsible for this blast, they're going to meet with justice. If you just go back and retrace the Prime Minister's earlier statements in the background of the Pahalgam terror attack on multiple platforms, he has been making it very clear that Operation Sindoor operation is not over. It is just on pause. I'm not suggesting that Operation Sindoor is something which is going to be resumed. We are going to wait, I guess, for the investigative agencies to submit their final report, come out with more conclusive details, even as the unraveling of those who are involved is coming out almost every day and in fact almost every hour. So that it's catching on, the probe is very intensified and all those details are coming out. But I think there is no denying the fact that the Prime Minister has been very, very clear. In fact, this government has been clear that we have a zero tolerance as far as any act of terror is concerned, and anyone who wants to harm the thread of India's national interest, national security, they are going to get that jawab from the government. We did that during Operation Sindoor, and the Prime Minister has made it clear, not just in India, but whenever he's travelled abroad, that the world needs to join its hands together. The world needs to understand that terrorism is something which can affect and impact any of us. It can hurt any country, and therefore there should be a zero tolerance for it. I think the Prime Minister's words were very clear-cut in Bhutan, and they were very menacing to the terrorists as well, that this government is going to spare no chance, no opportunity in teaching a lesson and to ensure justice is done to those who lost their lives and who were hurt in a Red Fort blast.
Right, but Pallavi, while hostile neighbor sending in foreign terrorists to carry out terror attack, India has made its response very clear in such a scenario. What is happening now as far as the doctors module or the white collar worker module is concerned is also an aspect of homegrown terror. Government is also very concerned about this homegrown radicalization that is happening, isn't it?
I think, the Home Minister has spoken on this many times. The Defence Minister also has spoken about this. And the Prime Minister, of course, has been making very clear that, this is a menace which is spreading. The tactics of terrorists, and especially those across the border, which is Pakistan, they keep on changing. They're changing their style. They're changing their... frankly speaking, what happened at the Red Fort could possibly have been even worse impact, but this was something which was apprehended. We managed to foil it so that further damage couldn't have been happen. But yes, it has always been an area of concern that universities, colleges, are they also emerging as a bastion for acts of terror? Are they the ones where the children are being whitewashed? Are they brainwashed by these terrorist organizations? And I think that area of concern has often been expressed both by the Home Minister and by the Defence Minister in the past.
Right. So today, when the Prime Minister has come back from Bhutan, he's supposed to go to LNJP first, where those injured in the Red Fort blast are still receiving treatment. Pallavi, Delhi government has already announced a compensation amount, but could there be any further relief from the centre by way of either the Prime Minister's own relief fund or any other way to aid those who have either been maimed or been injured in a way that going back to earning their bread and butter might be difficult?
Well, we're getting those pictures of the Prime Minister having reached the national capital. He's always used a global platform to drive home the point that India has been a victim of sustained terror attacks coming in, say, from Pakistan, and how India has, kind of always hit back. As far as compensation is concerned, I guess we need to wait for the CCS to be over. The cabinet meeting's agenda is certainly not this. There are certain economic agendas very much on the platter. We'll have to wait to see once the cabinet meeting is over. There's likely to be a briefing also after that. But the CCS is usually a very brief meeting which takes place, which consists of all the core team of the cabinet along with the Prime Minister. And I guess the Prime Minister is going to be briefed. He has been. The rest of the cabinet colleagues who are going to be a part of the CCS will also be briefed as to what is going to be the road ahead. So how do you ensure that these kind of acts don't take place? Is there a bigger plan? Was there a bigger plan which was being formulated? And those compensations usually are announced by the government in place. We'll have to wait to see after the cabinet meeting is over whether the government does actually make some announcements.
Thank you so much, Pallavi, and also Payal Mehta for joining us and helping us understand the significance of the CCS meeting scheduled this evening after the Prime Minister has landed